Please actually work today. Oh yay, it's working! Hooray! Alright. Go ahead and share the stream out real quick. And then will one of you share it on the PlayStation chat, please? Hey, prime time. Goddamn. What are you trying to sell me? Damn. Ah, thank you, Gav. I always forget to do that. You know me so well. You're like, Gav, you're gonna forget to post it there, aren't you?
Turn up the dial, unfiltered opinions, that's our style. Crack your headphones and give us a listen. The Let's Talk
very chill about it. Hey everybody. Welcome to the Let's Talk Hotshot podcast. Today we are talking about promos and how they relate to storylines. Oh, hold on. Hold a minute. Properties. Just wait a minute. It was still going to your Discord and not to mine. Alright. That should fix it. Now try saying something.
Oh.
They couldn't hear us.
They can hear you
son
now.
of a bitch.
What? Hey, I caught it before we got really deep into things, okay?
I mean, that's true. It's not like he did that one time with the WrestleMania one, where basically we were talking for like an hour, and then he found out that we weren't heard.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Nightmare, it would have been the whole damn show.
Right?
But anyways, if you think that we've already covered this topic of promos before, you might be right, but it's worth going over a second time in greater detail.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, we're going to go over it in some greater detail. We have some examples we have some examples also for you guys, as far as the promos are concerned.
Like one of the shorts that this just recommended me. It's when it's when the Toxic Table won the tag titles.
Oh God! Should send that to Chaz. Gonna get a reply from him saying, "Do you want to live?"
No, the comment would be, "Do you want to die?"
Yeah, good point. That would be the.
If you're gonna say it, you gotta say it right.
Yeah.
Phoebe the one of you saying, "Do you want to live?"
Do you like working here? That's Phoebe's.
Do you like working? Do you like
Phoebe's
working
line
here?
right there. All right, so I actually have an example promo, an example promo for a storyline. Before I show it, I want to at first actually kind of apologize to the two people who were involved in the storyline. I forgot to run it by them that I was actually going forward with the storyline, so that's on me as the Fed owner. But this is from last night, actually. I had a promo cut. I wrote the promo for Diamond Sky, or for AJ's character, and the idea was that I'm setting up a multi-person match later on down the line, and it starts with a match between her and Alicia. So Alicia's on her way out to the ring, and this happens. She walks out, and Alicia's been cutting promos against Diamond, so I kind of like it naturally worked. I was like, oh, this is perfect for the story. She talked with management. They agreed to a match, right? Alicia goes into the match after all this, right? Good luck out there. You'll need it. They go into the match. They're fighting, and then the Toxic Tables need a job every time in the ring. Damn.
Not on that night. Not on that night they did.
On that night. That is true. Alright, and then mid-match, all of a sudden you hear Diamond Sky's music playing, and there she is. Cutting a promo. I hope you're not too busy. You know, she's in a match. Perfect timing for that. Because it's time for the big announcement. I'll see you at Solar Winds. She lets her know what the match is going to be. And it says 3 stars from each brand, competing for bragging rights. And then the match continues, and per the story, Alicia loses the match. And she lost the match because of a distraction from Diamond Sky in the middle of it, which is going to lead to a match between the two of them at the next NXT show. That's kind of an example of how a promo can, or how you can utilize promos to further a story. The next one,
AKA Wrestling 101.
Yeah. And at some point, I'll do an actual Share Factory stream and show you guys how I set all that up.
And it would have to be a stream because every time he's talked about how to do Share Factory, it is at least 10 hours long.
Yeah, it'll actually be an actual stream. So, let's go ahead and go to our next.
You think I'm joking about 10 hours long? I'm not.
No.
There is a lot of rambling on that, and Beetle barely getting to the point.
This is true. Now we'll go to our next slide. Our next slide here. For a little context to this goes back to 2K23. And we were doing a storyline where this masked person was walking around claiming to be American Rain. Now, it's already come out. We already know who was under the mask because he's been unmasked already. And
yeah,
that
it was Kyle Young.
No, it was Rex.
No,
It was Kyle Young.
let's see.
God.
Fucking hell.
I
This is not a gimmick stream.
was gonna say this isn't BMH.
I know, but the joke was right there.
All right, so
The comedy was right there in front of me.
we have this guy running around in a mask, right? And it's I made it obvious who it was. I made it completely obvious that this American Rain fellow was actually Rex. Did I inadvertently spoil it? I think so. Yes, you did.
I don't think you did.
No, he did. He totally came in and went, I know him. I recognize that smell, or that amazing smell. And I was like, damn it, he's going to give it away. To be fair, I made sure.
And that's how he knew it was Kyle Young.
Shut the fuck up.
But anyway, Kyle, you wrote this, so I'll let you go ahead and explain it.
Okay, basically what had happened was we were planning this whole story out. I offered to basically write this up on like a site basically that lets you do a fake tweet, which basically was the real American Rain going, okay, what's going on here? There's a guy running around pretending to be me, and he's not even looking at anything like me. So, do I need to set the record straight? Which was basically him open the door of, hey guys, call me. I can come in and straighten this out for you real quick. Which, you guys want me to read the promo itself? Or do you want, or is that just basically self-explanatory for everybody that can read?
I mean, you can read it.
English language.
Go ahead and read it.
Alright, try to be as respectful as I can be. But who in the blue hell is that Pipsqueak trying to fool? He doesn't look anything like me. Do I need to make a call to set the record straight?
And what we ended up doing with that is, we ended up bringing him in. We brought in American Rain. He walked out, had a good fight with Rex. And that
Good
was
fight and Rex in the same sentence.
Yeah, I know. Okay, you squashed Rex there.
Yeah. Well, okay, well, yeah, but Reg fought Rex and basically ripped off the mask.
Yep.
And sadly, I think this was also going to a story where pretty much Rex is now also competing for the Intercontinental title on Octane.
No,
And
actually, I thought it was the tag titles.
No, it was the Intercontinental, I think, because he was on his own, I think, or was it tag? Or you might have been the tag.
It was tag titles because, Gav noticed it was him, and then that was actually how Gav ended up on the roster. It
was one of the belts on Octane. Let's put it that way.
This storyline actually led to Gav signing, if I remember correctly. This is how he got on the roster. He's like, he looks familiar, and then all of a sudden, Gav and Rex were both there. Because we had Rex as he was part of American Made as American Rain, and Phoenix was calling him the Great American and all this other stuff, and it was all over.
And
the
you've
top.
got this other American Rain comes in, the real one, and yeah, odds on commentary saying, that guy's clearly Canadian.
Yep. Yep.
Well,
I can remember that shit, and I can barely remember who I learned in high school.
He's clearly Canadian.
he's clearly Canadian. I mean, look at him. He clearly has no sense of humor.
God damn. Meanwhile, I got Rex clowning around on the roster, and the second people found out who that was, I had a line of people begging to fight him. I was like, oh my god.
You got a lot of people begging to kick his ass because it's like, yeah!
Yep. Kind of like right now, the guy hasn't even debuted yet, but El Britannico, I've already got a line of people asking for matches against him. I haven't even started the season yet, and I already have a line of people wanting to have a match against El Britannico. Like
the Great American.
He hasn't cut a single promo yet. They all want to fight him, and they all want to fight Phoenix. Hey, what's up, Wally?
This whole thing went. I think if I remember correctly. I think the match ended with basically a hair versus mask match.
I believe so.
It was hair versus mask, and the real American Reign won.
The real basically got to stay on the roster and work with Danny for like a cup of coffee before basically.
That's right.
American strong style guy.
That's right. Rex. That's right. Rex won, and
Shut the fuck up, Oz.
And the fake American Reign got his head shaved.
God damn it. What alternate universe are you living
We
in?
need to find the footage where you're very much telling a bald-faced lie.
I was gonna say, what alternate universe do you live in, Odds?
I think he lives in the Twilight Zone.
Good lord.
Just gotta keep the gimmick up.
You
God
don't have
damn.
to keep the gimmick up. We're not on a stream. We're not on a live stream where it's a show.
I know.
It's the
I do
real
that for
people.
fun. I know. I'm doing this for fun.
You know it's gonna get under our skin.
Yes, that's
Yep.
why I'm doing it.
Yep, that's exactly why he's doing it. Speaking of someone who can get under people's skin.
Oh God! Can I explain this one? Because I at least can remember some of what was going on around this time.
Well, before we get to it, I'm not going to say who it is.
This isn't the correct timeline.
God damn it. Of course, Gavin would say
shut
that.
up.
Of course, you would say that Odds is in the correct timeline. Because we're talking about Rex. He's like, yes, he's in the right timeline. Rex kept the mask. We all joined American Made. And that
Fucking
frog
hell.
was sent back to Canada. With a shaved head.
Even though he's from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Yep. It's Philadelphia, Canada. Anyway.
All right, let's get to it. Let's get to another balding, annoying asshole.
Yep. I'm not going to say his name, because the second I start playing the video, you guys will know who it is.
Avi Gibson.
Can I
Odds!
can I set the context around this shit, or
Please.
Do you want to give the context
Okay.
before I play the video or after?
I'll give it before you play the video if you don't mind,
Okay, that's fine.
because it might add a little something to it.
Okay.
Although there's one little bit I'm gonna leave out for after the fact.
Okay.
So at the time, you got Gibson representing Christina Luthor, who's embroiled in a feud with Adriana Devitt over the Women's North American Championship.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, also, we've had basically the back and forths where it's both Adriana and Jason both basically taking shots at Gibson and Christina in the chat, or basically whatever. I ask Odds over here to give Gibson the camera and let him speak his mind. I'm gonna let this go on. Because like I said, there's gonna be one little piece of information I'm gonna wait till after the video before we actually talk about.
Okay. Well, let's actually get to it.
This is Gibson's first verbal promo.
Yep. Gibson's first verbal promo on screen.
Don't you ever dare do.
Okay.
SCD. You know, for a place that calls itself high class, it's a little bit of a dump. My name is Harvey Gibson, and I am the manager of Christina Luthor, the reigning SCD Women's North American Champion, and the current CPW Women's Intercontinental Champion. You see, I'm here to talk to her challenger. Honey, I don't know what I have to do. I've insulted your half a man of a boyfriend, that pathetic human being that's, let's say, Saba, is more like a little dragon dagger. I've insulted you for being what you are, a brainless thug that does not think, period, before she acts. I don't know what I got to do to put it in your head. Do I have to insult your mama for being what she is? A two-bit whore on the street? Do I have to insult your father for being what he is? Not around, and not even knowing who he is. Because the only reason you exist is because he gave your mother $10. Do I have to insult you for how SCD found you on the streets, selling your body for $10? Understand, sweetheart, when you step in the ring with my Christina Luthor, she will put you down like all the rest, because she, above all others, has that killer instinct. Christina Dos Belts will still have both belts coming out of this mega event. In core wrestling, people will forget your name just like all other two-bit whores. As for Christina Luthor, once she beats you and puts you where you belong on your back, she will be where she needs to be, and that is a legend. Fight my women's wrestler if you want. You will never dethrone her as champion.
That was crazy.
Now, let me just make one thing clear real quick. Christina was not the champion going into that. It was actually Adriana. Do you blame yourself on that one? For the fine people at home.
That was Odds doing the voiceover.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean, though.
No, I was answering Scorpion's question.
Ah, gotcha.
And Gibson's voice is still difficult to do for anyone wondering.
I was actually going to ask you that. Like, how hard was it to do that for so long? Because that was a long promo.
Pretty hard. I can definitely not keep that voice up for that long.
But
especially live.
If I remember correctly, the whole thing was that the promo basically you didn't remember like if she was champion or not, so it was like, yeah, let me just go for it.
Yeah, I did not remember who was champion, so I pretty much just wung it instead of because I knew as a heel I could just lie my ass off.
Yeah, it basically just claiming she was still the champion. But it was kind of one of the most fun promos ever, especially considering the fact that how it started. You just have him calling the dojo the dump, insulting Jason's manhood, if you want to get technical with that.
his Saba, his poor little dragon dagger.
Which that was a dig in multiple ways, because Jason Oliver is the He's a White Ranger call. So the Dragon Dagger and Saber thing was
Saber?
Saber.
What's a saber?
Well, you said Saber, but the way you said it was Saber or whatever. How you said it?
It's Saba. That's the.
I said
What's the
it's
sword?
the name of the weapon. It's called Saber.
Oh, I'm a freaking dodo brain then. Anyway,
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
it was a Power Rangers reference.
It's a Power Rangers reference, and you should know it.
Yes.
I forgot
We
the
grew up
sword's
around the same damn
name.
time.
Okay, I forgot the sword's name. It's been a long time. Anyway,
But yeah, pretty much the whole thing was just the build up. If I remember correctly, I think it was for Ring of the Sky, which was basically SCD's WrestleMania. Well, it still is, but once I actually get back up to actual recording stuff, which I have an idea what I'm gonna do, but I'm gonna hope that I can try to do something with the actual like music and stuff. So
Hey, Samurai, what's the next SCD?
shut up, bitch.
no, the answer should just be soon.
It's
Soon.
like as soon as I actually get on, as soon as I actually get off my ass to do something.
It's coming up
As
soon.
soon- Would you?
But also-
Is it as soon as the next episode
Oh no.
of Shits and Giggles would be?
Damn odds. Someone gonna get yelled at after this podcast. Odds! You.
If he even heard it, he may not be even listening right now.
Waiting to hear your phone chime. Ding! You bastard.
Yeah.
You-
Yeah. Ding. Son of a bitch.
Somebody's in trouble. Anyway,
Anyway. Hey, can we go off on a tangent just right now and look at the face of Harvey Gibson?
look at his face.
That is all face morphing. The face morphing in 2K19 was fantastic.
Yeah.
It didn't even look like it was face morphing.
That's true. And that was from 19. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gonna work yourself into a shoot. Oh, that's right.
Anyway,
That was
go on.
19 because
Anyway, that's
Harvey had a gut.
But anyway, that's a tangent.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, I said Harvey had a gut. So move this so we can actually see everyone's comments. All right.
Yeah, Harvey definitely was a little bigger back then.
Yeah. He looks like he did some CrossFit now. He's been on a diet
He
and a
did-
CrossFit
he had to do that
regimen.
for because he had to do that for LTD so he could wrestle freaking TJ.
Oh yeah, he had to train. He had to train for his fight with TJ. There you go. Thank Count for that then.
Yeah, Count took the credit for training him as
What's up,
this
Blaze?
low level Caw is beating up TJ at level 100.
Yep.
Hey,
All
Blaze.
Oh, that was the funniest shit on the planet. Just like
Oh yes, it was.
I knew it basically screwed up a lot of the story, but
Mhm.
it
Oh,
did work.
as it was going on, I was just like, Gibson's gonna win, isn't he? Gibson's gonna win, isn't he? Gibson's gonna win, isn't he? Son of a bitch, he just won.
Mm-hmm. Not calling anyone out, but there were a few I'd love to send to promo school.
Oh, there are far many for me to count in. Even in my time of being a rookie, I would love for them to go to promo school.
Oh, my rookie promos were cringe. Okay.
Buddy.
Before we get into that topic, Yeah, one more. We got one more here because we tried to scramble and find some promos that we could use as examples. This is a
Look, you
feud.
can find that clip for Gibson through Google Drive.
Yep. That's why we were 10 minutes late. We were trying to find that clip, that Gibson clip. Or
Well,
trying
actually,
to
no, we
get
found
me.
the clip. We were just trying to get it downloaded.
Yeah, they were trying to get me the clip, and I couldn't. We had to actually figure out who owned it. and-
I couldn't get the access on my phone. I had to go to my actual computer.
Yep. All right, so this next one, this is from MCW. This is Mobman's channel. I have Kitty over there, and she earned herself a shot at the Miss Money in the Bank. Or, well, she won the Miss Money in the Bank briefcase and earned herself a shot at his Women's Universal Championship. Her opponent, of all people, the lady who Harvey was cutting a promo for and speaking for, Christina Luther. Kind of ironic how that worked, how this all played out.
So basically, that was how this all like worked out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's hilarious that this is how it worked out. Alright, so, on CPW, and since I watched the show and I know it, Luther is dating Nathan A. Cunningham, so I threw that into this promo when I was asked to go ahead and cut a promo. And it goes, as Miss Money in the Bank, I am cashing in my briefcase and I officially challenge you, Christina Luther, for your MCW Women's Universal Championship. At All-Star Rumble, I will see you one-on-one. I hope you're not too busy rolling around with Nathan and actually training, because when we meet, I'm not going to pull my punches, and you better not either. Kitty is a veteran. She is older, wiser, and is a face. She's the baby face in this scenario. So I took a small dig at her, at Luther, with the Nathan line, and then immediately went into the reasoning why she said it. Because when we meet, I'm not going to pull my punches. I wanted it to be something straight, like direct, pretty much. To do like, not to generate sympathy, because you don't have to do that every single time, but it was more of a, I'm just trying to get her to get a response from Oz as Luther.
And this is a great thing to bring up. Yes, Gav, we all nitpick ourselves. Every single person that ever wants to be good at cutting a promo, we all nitpick ourselves. I could nitpick every single old promo that I've ever done or every storyline I've ever done.
Yeah.
Good game.
While everyone else would say it's so good, I would be sitting there being like, I got this wrong, I got this wrong, I did this wrong, I did this wrong, I did this wrong.
That's one of the hard parts for me when going back and watching old episodes. I look at them now and I'm like, why did I do that? I should have done this instead. Or why did I do that story? Or why didn't I finish that story? That's a lot of... I've noticed that a lot with my older stuff. Like, why didn't I complete that story? Why did I leave it open?
It's just like today, you were scatterbrained.
Shut up. That's probably true. I was probably scatterbrained and I just didn't, there's probably some truth to that. I'll admit it. I will admit it. I can be scatterbrained from time to time, but yeah, I do the same thing. I nitpick everything that I do. Hell, I nitpicked those promos I wrote for the stream yesterday when I had Diamond cutting those promos.
Mm-hmm.
I nitpicked them after the fact. I was like, man, I thought they were good when I wrote them, but now that I'm looking at them, I'm like, I could have done these better.
Mm-hmm.
They could.
I could go back to my to my promos that I cut in 2015, 2014, and all that with Chris Knight and nitpick the living crap out of all of them, and just say why did I write this like this? Oh wait, that's right. I was a teenager.
Yeah.
That's the same thing I could say for me when I first started working with odds over on CPW and trying to write my own goddamn promos. All those early Samantha promos.
Oh gosh.
Ooh. Early Samantha promos.
Early Samantha promos. The lack of promos with Chris Knight and Max Young.
We both could basically nitpick ourselves from basically when I first started working with you over for CPW.
That and the reaction to Phoenix cheating and winning the United States Championship off of Max Young on CPW Impact.
God.
My
ages
gosh,
ago.
you were pissed.
So because you basically just dropped that right in front of me. I'm like, what the fuck?
Sometimes though, doing that out of nowhere is kind of the best because you get some of the best responses from people.
Oh, trust me. Like, I think that happened with you later on, where you basically dropped that as like Delvin basically winning the Money in the Bank and cashing in on Kyle the same night.
Oh, that was amazing. That was one of my favorite. That was actually one of my favorite moments of any show that I've done. Because
I think I've been so used to like getting like surprises dropped on me. I was just jaded to the point of like I looked at my phone. I think it was either my phone or my laptop screen and just went, so this is happening then, huh? Okay.
yeah. But I got a genuine
One of the few things he knew in advance was Phoenix beating Kyle Young all those times during Phoenix's 302-day reign.
Gotta win that match. I would have loved to have, but I knew for the story's sake you needed someone else to be the one to slay the dragon.
Uh-huh. That's the thing about storylines, especially when it comes to promos. They always have to lead to the heel getting slain. The heel finally not really slain, just the dragon finally getting defeated. The annoying heel finally getting his comeuppance in the end. That type of stuff always has to happen. But also when it comes to promos, you have to watch the audience.
Yep.
What gave me the indication that Phoenix's title reign should be coming to an end and should not be lasting any longer than it currently was by the reaction of the audience around the go home show of Collision Course of that year.
Okay.
The reaction wasn't as high as it was before because technically Phoenix has been world champion for technically around. If you go from No Escape of when he won it, I believe in 2020, to when he lost the world title in 2021, he'd been world champion for nearly 2 years.
Yeah.
Barring him losing it. So people had gotten tired of him holding the world title.
I don't know that
It's a point of your audience is getting tired of booing this person because they know he is never going to lose he's never going to get his comeuppance. They're starting to feel he's not going to get his comeuppance in the end. Or they're just tired of it and they're waiting for him to just get his comeuppance.
yeah, at that point they're waiting for him to lose. They're
Yes,
like, okay,
it's a
when is he
very
doing this?
it's a very fine line, and it's something that you have to experience later as you're watching it back.
Yeah.
Or if you're a commentator, after you cut the promo, watching the chat as the thing's going on, saying, I don't think this storyline's working. Even with this promo, I can't get people in. Or, ooh, this is really getting over. Man, this promo's really getting them involved in the angle.
Yeah. Well, there.
You got to know when to cut back and when to just cut your losses, or when to continue something. Continue something longer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're talking about mistakes that were made, because we all make those along the way, right? I make mistakes all the time too. In one of the storylines that we talked about earlier, the whole American Reign thing with with Phoenix prancing around with this American Reign figure and all that other stuff. There was another major storyline going on at the same exact time, and that was the Delvin heel run as champion.
That and then later on it would be the stealing of his sword. But go ahead.
Yeah, the continue. Well, that happened simultaneously, actually. His heel run on Octane happened. He was a heel on Octane and a babyface in BMH, and he was feuding with Phoenix. He was feuding with Phoenix and BMH at the same time as he was screwing everybody over in Octane as the undisputed champion. So he was on a
welcome to digital wrestling at its finest.
Yes. Which was crazy for me because in 23 I had him as a heel. Q was in 22 and he was doing BMH. And Delvin was a heel or was a face over there, a heel where I was, and I couldn't get I screwed up one night and I cut a heel promo with him live in Q's chat, and he DM'd me. I think he DM'd me after. He's like, you know he's a face, right? I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm sorry. That was a mistake. Wrong chat.
No, here's the other mistake you made. It was going to my video at one point. I think it was to after one of my pay-per-views had been finished. looked at what the video was I had playing at the start of the show, and then basically having the heel Delvin basically accuse Kyle of stealing the sword to use as a...
I regret nothing.
Legitimately,
that may have been a mistake, but that was an entertaining mistake that we used quite often.
It to a point where it started to get a bit annoying, where you had me basically getting asked, "Where's the sword?" on a constant occasion. I'm like, I don't know where it is. That was not the sword.
Like, I didn't steal it.
Because behind the scenes, folks, we knew who stole the sword. That was planned long in advance with Q that we were bringing America Phoenix in.
Yep, we knew that Phoenix was stealing the sword, and it was literally just, who can I blame? Who is Delvin currently feuding with? And whoopsies. That was the heel mistake right there. This is who stole it.
The heel Delvin screwed over face Delvin, let's put it that way.
Yeah. Heel Delvin kind of screwed over face Delvin. But that's not the biggest mistake that I made, and I'm about to explain it. Heel Delvin had a ton of heat. He was a heat magnet. And I pulled the plug prematurely. I should have let him remain heel, and I should have ran with it probably for another 5 months. But
I don't think that was a mistake.
I kind of wish I would have let it run a little longer, but it's fine. It is what it is. It happened how it happened.
It's the same thought process of could I have extended Benjamin's reign as world champion longer? Yes, I could have. He could still be currently world champion right now, just getting ready to lose it.
Yeah.
But look at how many world champions in the meantime of that are now that would have been erased and never happened.
No, that's true. That's very true.
There's like 7 or 8. There's 8 in total. 7 different people were world champions after Benjamin's reign.
Well, you know who ended up getting screwed over in the storyline that I that I did because I pulled the plug early. The man
Who's
who, the man who is now the frickin' biggest heel in probably in the DWS. It was gonna be Mavericks. That was the plan. Kelly Mavericks as a baby face was going to take down Delvin. That's what I was leading to, because he was one of the 3 people who got screwed over in the triple threat or the fatal 4-way ladder match where Delvin won the briefcase. And the reason they got screwed over is they were all being booked constantly, and I made sure of it. I think for like 3 or 4 months, because I had planned this out ahead of time. Knowing he was going to turn heel, I booked them constantly. They were on every show. Even shows they weren't supposed to be on, they were booked on. They were on the shows, they were active. Right? So they were overworked and they were tired. So when Delvin won...
The long story short, that was the plan.
Yeah.
But I believe you went with Arthur because of my suggestion, because I was like,
Yeah.
I'm looking at Arthur. He's getting pretty damn over as a babyface. He could be the one to take the belt from him and
Well,
slay the dragon.
No, you're
He's-
forgetting something in the middle.
I was going to say he's not the one
Probably
that...
am.
He didn't slay that dragon. He slayed a different dragon altogether, because what we ended up doing was it was supposed to be Trevor Bell that fought Delvin, right? He gets ready to go do it, and he goes, I'm not going to do it until you're healthy. Because Delvin was injured after his match with, I think it was Wasson. Wasson took him to the limit. And Delvin
It might have been.
was taped up.
Yeah, I think it was Watson. Yeah, because Watson beat the shit out of him.
Yep, and that was supposed to happen. That was part of the storyline. Delvin was supposed to barely get away, and he was going to go away for like a few months and then finally come back. Like, do the whole, I'm injured and I can't compete bullshit. And then finally come back and get his ass handed to him. But what I ended up doing was I did a pregnancy storyline with Mika, and he walked out and he's like, look, I'm at whoever wants to walk out and fight me can walk out and fight me. Bell walked out and said, look, it's supposed to be me, but I ain't doing it because you're injured and I want you when you're healthy. Phoenix walks out, insults Betty, insults Mika, insults the unborn children, does everything under the sun. That was actually a freaking phenomenal promo, by the way, Odds.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing with heel promos that people have to understand. The point of a heel is when to overextend and when to not go as far as you could.
Right.
And there is a point where you can and where you shouldn't. And it all depends on if you're freaking winning and losing.
Well,
If you're going to lose, you can say anything under the sun and go as overboard as humanly possible. Because you know in the end they're going to lose and they're going to get their comeuppance in the end. If they're not going to lose, then you can't go as far, and you shouldn't go as far, because then you're going to bury your baby face.
right. And I believe what you did was you did this like sympathetic, allow me to take the belt off your hands, or something, some bullshit
Yeah,
like that.
the smarmy, slimy
Yep.
in Phoenix's character,
Yeah,
as Phoenix would do. He's a chicken shit, so he's slimy, conniving, and always scheming and planning.
and then I think I had Delvin say something along the lines of, "Well, if you're gonna come out here and spew all this bullshit, I could still kick your ass with one hand tied behind my back." And the match was three moves long. Phoenix hit his finisher, and it was it.
Because it's the never-ending story.
So also one of the things that happened was, I think before it was before High Octane. You had the whole thing with Delvin's like still slimy tactic of basically him going after Kyle with like taking his wife and forcing her as a manager or some shit like that.
Oh yeah, I had him do that.
Oh, that was fun.
I remember because I think like we basically had to a point where Kyle didn't even care about the belt anymore. It was just let me beat this motherfucker.
Yep.
Mhm.
That
As
turned
a
into
heel
that.
commentator, that adds to it too. As a heel commentator, you have to know when to push things for the angle. And I loved pushing that.
Yeah. Yeah, because you were just like, I think you basically were just like, no, Akira, don't go into the cage, no.
No, I was like, she's with him on her own accord.
Oh yeah,
like, no,
yeah.
she's-
She's
no,
happier
she's
there.
I was doing the Bobby Heenan stuff.
Just like, oh, she's clearly there of her own accord. She's clearly happier with a real man or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Right?
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
I think me and Bill were sitting there going, no, she clearly isn't that happy. She doesn't want to be there.
The never-ending world tour.
Yep, I remember that.
Uh-huh.
When the
Yeah.
Secret Bandits were champions. Yeah, because it makes a great point.
I mentioned all that to loop back to this because I remember right after the Phoenix thing, when Phoenix basically screwed over Delvin and take the belt. Me and Beetle then have Kyle and Delvin be basically on good terms afterwards.
Well, we had to
was-
figure out a good
was
way
just
to do
basically
it
like-
too.
Oh, and it was easy by that point because by that point, Kyle had already been screwed over by Phoenix, I believe, twice in 2 different matches for the world title
Something like that, yeah. And then
on
also,
CCW, and I think a third match for the world title, or a third or fourth match for the world title on Octane.
Yep.
something like that. I don't remember.
So they've met.
They've met, and even though Kyle disliked what Delvin did, he can't really hate him now from everything that, like the double whammy of what just happened.
Yeah,
Because he's just like, you know what? I now understand that, man. I've had to deal with the same pain in the ass.
But also, Kyle also a character is a father of his own right, so pretty much it's like, yeah, I can
Mhm.
understand this man on a deeper level.
Yeah. That was how those two just kind of mended fences. I forgot who they were facing though. Forgot what it was about. There was a reason that we did that too.
Probably something with Jesus de Valencia.
Probably.
It was stuff like that, because I think what we did was later on, it was like Kyle, Leon, Delvin, maybe someone else was a War Games match, if I remember correctly.
Oh, it was for a War Games match.
I think I might be mistaken, so don't quote me on any of that.
Oh no, it was for a War Games match. I just forgot what the match was supposed to be and who was in it. I have to go back and look.
I know
it's been-
Kyle and
Was it War
Delvin.
Games? Was that 2K23? But by that point, I don't.
Yeah, all that took
I think it
place in
was.
23. Because I was in 23 when you were in 22. When you and Q were both in 22, I was in 23.
Don't remind me.
When you were in
Don't remind
22.
me of staying. Don't remind me of staying in 22.
When you stayed in 22.
And I remember Monk made Phoenix that year.
Monk made Phoenix, and I made Sarah. I think I sent you screenshots and was like, "Is it okay if I do this?" Because I wanted her on my roster still.
Yeah, Sarah Knight. And you made Sarah Knight, and you also made Christina Luther with completely out of thin air and just like, hey man, is it fine if I make Christina Luther?
Hey, and
Yeah, why?
had you told me no, I would have deleted her. Just to let you know.
Yeah, why? Because I just did it. Like, when did you do this? Last night. My comment should have been, why weren't you sleeping?
Yeah. Well, I think she was the undisputed champion. The 22 ended and she was still the undisputed champion.
I believe she was. She did hold the MXT Women's Championship for quite some damn time.
No. By that point, she had moved on from that. She was the women's undisputed champion. Like, she was the biggest champion in the company. She was my women's world champion, pretty much. And I was like, she's not in the game. Shit, what am I gonna do? I'll make her real quick, then I'll ask odds for forgiveness later.
Like, okay, I'll make her now. Ask her for forgiveness later.
I made her and I made Gibson, and I was like, hey, can I do this?
Mm-hmm. and Beetle knows what my response is going to be. Yes, sure, go ahead.
Yep.
Because when it comes to my cause, and this is a tangent, yes, we know we do this for anybody new to the podcast. There is only a few people that are on a list of people that can make my cause. It is a list that is as short as the amount of people on one hand that can do so. Anybody else in that situation would have gotten a very bad response.
To say
it in a PG mindset.
Yeah.
Put it this way: the cleanest way we could probably say it is "fuck no."
That would be probably the lightest of terms. Because as a creator, you, with every single call you make, you're putting a little bit of yourself in that call. So for somebody to make the call without your permission, that you're not cool with and is not on that list that's on like your one hand of people that you would allow to do this.
Uh-huh.
It's a violation. It feels like you've been violated in some ways.
Yeah, I can understand that.
That's why when I've been working on this on my current roster, I will reach out to people and say, hey, is it okay if I make blah? And if I get a no, then it's like, oh well, I'll move on. But I know that there's some people that don't have the PS5 version of this, so I have been reaching out to some of the members of the roster and saying, hey, is it okay if I make this person so I can bring them back? You know? And then there's the screenshots where it's like, hey, this is where I'm at, what do you think? I try to keep if I'm making a character for someone, I try to keep them involved in the creation process so they know what's going on with their character. Be very clear with them too. It's like, hey, if you have any suggestions, if there's something that you want, you know, this happened with someone. I made a character, I sent it to them. They said I'd rather they look like this instead, and I got my own new character out of it. But I made, I redid it, and I made the character that they wanted the way they wanted it. So it's like, they told me this is the.
I think I remember what call that was, but it's on the tip of my tongue right now.
It's like these.
I don't know why American Rain is coming to my head.
No. They gave me a suggestion, pretty much, like, this is how I did it on my game, and I went, okay, cool. Do you want me to do the same thing? And they said, that'd be cool. So I did. But, it's just, I try to be as transparent with people and open with them about that kind of stuff, where it's like, hey, is it okay if I do this? And I've made
that's something that as an owner you have to do running a show.
Yeah.
Be as transparent as possible, but at the same time, some people don't want to know about storylines. So that you have to. There's that fine balance.
Yeah, and that's the thing that I need to find out about, because I know some people like being told what's going on, and Sorry to both of the people involved in the last storyline. I should have been more open with what I was doing. They now know. They're the only ones that know how the story is gonna, how it's gonna pan out, or where it's going. Now,
here's how I
now
always do it.
But
Here's how I always do it. I always ask the person straight up front, do you want to know what the story, what in this storyline, do you want to know what's going to happen, or do you want to be surprised as time goes on? As I start to get to know you, I'm probably just going to surprise you anyway, because I actually want to see a great reaction, because I know what's going to pop you and entertain you.
damn you, you bastard!
I do that to Monk, I do that to Beetle, and I do that to Samurai all the damn time.
Yes, you do.
He won't tell me anything anymore. So now what I do to annoy him is I start guessing things.
Yes, he does.
Are you doing
He tries
this?
to guess
Are you doing
all
that?
the time?
Is it this
and he's
person?
Already guessed,
He's like,
and he's already guessed who's going to be. He's already guessed a major person that's going to be in a new stable coming up. But that's not gonna. But I'm not giving away any spoilers on stream.
Exactly.
Honestly, good for you, buddy. Good for you.
I can be annoying from time to time when I really want to. It's like, he's not going to tell me what's going on, all right?
Oh, he certainly does.
Let
He
me
can certainly do
guess.
that.
Like, let me guess. He's like, no, stop guessing.
He was doing it. He was doing that before anyway, just out of his own curiosity. Now he does it because it knows it bugs the living crap out of me.
Yes, because I like to know about the stories or about what my characters are doing.
Nosy as hell. That's why one of my smart ass remarks. I called you Curious George.
I just don't want to be in the dark. That's all. So I'll ask. I'll be like, "You can tell me what's going to happen," and he'll be like, "No, I'd rather surprise you." Like, come on, tell me. No. All right, fine. I'm going to guess. He's like, "God damn it! Stop guessing." I think.
I've never really had a. To answer prime time, I've never really had someone that's a face want to turn heel. I mean, at one point, Chris Knight was so over with people because of how his promos were back then. Because again, this is a teenage me going into my early 20s. Didn't really have a voice in my personal life. Put it into a lot of my promos. And a lot of what I said back then were my actual real feelings, just amplified by 20 million. And in that time period of the 2010s, and so that was actually a very popular, that was something that was on the cusp at that point. Punk just did his promo, his pipe bomb. It was that type of thing was starting to become popular, so people started to like him.
Just take it, Samurai.
So Chris Knight technically turned babyface, but he never changed anything than what he was doing. He was doing the same promos, same stuff he had been doing. The fans just turned him babyface.
Also,
because people like him.
Audition Op told me they call Beetle Curious George.
Freaking smartass!
Yes, I was being a smartass.
No, not you, him. He sent me a freaking an emoji of Curious George waving.
You know being around the smartass is too much when I'm doing this shit and picking it up right away.
You sent it to my DM and not to the three of ours, though. So.
Because I knew it would annoy you specifically.
Damn. Targeted. This is targeted. I was like, what did Kyle send me? Click. A Curious George image. A Curious George meme. Smartass.
And that was a more recent thing that I said too, because I needed something for the for the upcoming episode of PCM Fallout, and I knew he was on vacation, so I was like, and I knew he was curious, so I had said at the top, warning, do not open until after vacation. And I even had in there, if you are reading this during your vacation, shame on you, Curious George.
Yeah, I laughed at that. I also read it on my vacation because I was checking my.
I knew you would.
We had
you too well at this point.
we had downtime, so I looked at it during the downtime. So I was like, I'm just gonna check my messages. I was gonna see what people were creating in the locker room. So I opened up my PSN thing and I saw this thing from you in all caps. I'm like, I'm just gonna click on it. But you figured it out, so that was cool.
I didn't figure it out. I'm doing what I wanted to do in a different way, not how I actually wanted to get it done.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's all right. When it comes to doing shows, guys, I know this is again going on a tangent, but you have to learn to improvise. If something doesn't go right the way you were expecting it to, you have to just say, okay, I can't get this done the way I was thinking I was going to. Okay, how am I going to turn what could be chicken shit into a fine chicken salad?
That's 99.9% of what we do.
Pretty much.
It's improvisation, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you might be planning something, but then someone decides to say, "Oh yeah, I need to retire this call, or I need to do this with this call, or whatever." Or someone does something on their show with a certain call of theirs, and then someone else comes up to them and says, "Oh yeah, by the way, I'm still using this call for something. Do I need to retire this call?" And then you go, "Oh fuck, I forgot."
Yeah.
Odds will know exactly what I'm talking about when I say all of that in one sentence.
Uh-huh.
Which, for those curious, Armageddon. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes.
Yes, because speaking again with promos, the idea was to get Gibson over as a heel. Because I was looking at Armageddon and I was just like, I could technically get some space out of this and get rid of him and send him back into retirement. Because he wasn't really doing anything at that point, or so I thought. So I remembered. At times you can constantly forget.
I think when you did the thing on screen about the potential retirement, I then messaged you straight back going,
Yes, you did.
By the way,
So,
and then I think
yeah, so having Harvey Gibson try to coax Armageddon into retirement, because I was going to have Armageddon retire, then have Exodus take his place. Exodus is technically the new big giant, the new big Armageddon. And he's going to be Gibson's big ass bodyguard, mercenary giant. So that promo went off without a hitch. Gibson is it shows Gibson off to be slimy. Samurai messages me with a, "Did you forget something?" What? Did you forget I was using Armageddon?
in fairness, bro,
It was like one of those cartoon moments where you see someone shit themselves, and they have the big bulgy eyes, like, oh shit.
In fairness, bro,
I remember now.
I'll say this right now. I still have my plans in place if I can actually, go for it. If times ever come. But at the same time, if at the time you had said, yeah, I'm definitely gonna retire Armageddon, I would have been like, okay, that's fine. I can put the plans to the side. We're gonna let them basically die out.
Armageddon ain't gonna retire anytime damn soon.
Now you're just like, okay, now I got something for him to do.
I forgot
Yeah,
he was
Armageddon's
doing
busy.
something.
Yeah, Armageddon is busy. Speaking of promos,
Armageddon-
that's somebody that doesn't need to cut promos. And that's another big thing with storylines. Some characters don't need to cut promos.
Yep.
If it's a big giant like Armageddon, he doesn't have to cut a promo. He's a big giant beast of destruction. All he has to do is say one or two words. And that's it. That's all he has to do.
He doesn't need
He
to
doesn't
have
have
his
to-
own secret service or anything like that.
Yeah, he doesn't have to have a secret service. He doesn't have to have a long soliloquy of what's going to happen, like Keith Lee used to do. Greetings and salutations.
So with Keith Lee, it kind of fits him, but
He's just literally got to
Well,
come in, kick ass, take names, and go home. Essentially.
Exactly.
I mean, that's how a lot of giants in I've already referenced this show before, but I'll reference it again. That's how a lot of the giants in BMH act. They come out, they don't say a damn thing. They beat you up in 90 seconds and then walk home. And that's all
Exactly.
you get. But it does the job. You know, and your smaller guys, yeah, they've got to have mouthpieces because your smaller guys are smaller guys.
That and people that would need mouthpieces.
Yeah.
Characters that are foreign.
Akira Suzuki.
Hiroko Suzuki.
Hiroko Suzuki, Yuri Shang. It's not something that is racist. It is something that is this character technically does not speak good English. So they can do one or two words or a sentence one sentence or a sentence and a half, and the rest of the promo can go to the manager
What does
to do the actual work.
What does a dinosaur with a PhD sound like?
That's a very good. A dinosaur with a PhD. You mean some of the characters from that TV show Dinosaurs?
Wendy.
And ladies and gentlemen, I just dated myself tremendously. You now know how old I am.
You never know, he might be talking about Wendy.
No, I'm talking about the actual show Dinosaurs.
I know.
There was a sitcom show called Dinosaurs,
Yes, I know, I've seen it.
and I had a CD of it. Played it so much that I pretty much scratched the CD. Anyway, off topic.
I was saying, now who's the one that's over explaining shit?
Otis. Otis is a good example of that.
Yeah, Otis can be that way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Luchasaurus. I think Brodus Clay should have stayed quiet. Should have stayed quiet even after getting out of the ring. But that's just me.
I mean, if there's a lot of us might say that, but off topic.
Yes, off topic.
Do you want to keep explaining about the Armageddon thing that popped up because of the whole story?
Mm-hmm. And commenting on turning chicken salad into chicken salad. We turned that into one of the first and not the last that you're going to see in CPW of manager storylines, which led to a Armageddon versus Exodus match, where if Armageddon won, he got 5 minutes in the ring with Mr. Gibson.
Harvey,
This
you
worked.
have a date
Yes.
with Armageddon now.
Mhm. This storyline actually worked better later on when I did it with Cal Young, because I realized Armageddon is a giant. 5 minutes with Gibson. Realistically, if he had 5 minutes alone with Harvey Gibson, Gibson should be dead on the floor. Because little Gibson at 5'9" or like 6 foot tall is standing up to somebody at least over an inch bigger than him.
A foot, not an inch.
You know, whatever. But about a foot bigger than him. Over a foot bigger than him.
If he was trained, yeah, maybe you could see a case for him maybe surviving a little longer. But he's not. He's the sad old man.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say
That's
Gibson.
why-
Gibson wasn't
That's
even.
why. Yeah, that's why the Kyle Young version worked better because I could do more running around. Kyle wasn't gonna kill Gibson like a giant like Armageddon would in storyline, and it worked better as how can Kyle defeat this giant 7'3" unstoppable force of destruction.
Other than being the force of destruction, basically going against another force of destruction, and then the one that survived killing the small manager man.
Exactly.
Well, if the right one survived.
Yes, it's how you set up things like that. Since it was the first time I was doing it, it's like, okay, trial and error. Because that's sometimes what you just have to do. Go with the flow, go with the angle, and then remember, okay, I need to, when I do this angle next time, in however long it's going to take for me to rebound back to do this again, I have to do this better. I have to do this better. I have to learn from this mistake that I made.
So,
Oh, hold up! You actually had a different take on the same story that did just as good as
Which one was
Kazakaya. It's the same thing with Gibson, but instead of it being Kyle, it was Sicily.
Uh-huh.
Was Sicily being the one to powerbomb him?
Mm-hmm.
That's probably how the Armageddon one should have gone, which was
Yes.
like Armageddon basically threatening to basically chokeslam Gibson straight to hell.
Mm-hmm. And he should have just chokeslammed him straight to hell, and that was it. Instead of trying to prolong the inevitable.
yeah. But you live and learn. And when you,
Also, in a way, sorry for cutting you off, but in a way, I could maybe see why, because Gibson had this man's trust in his hand. Armageddon.
I love manager matches, and I just really wanted to do a manager match. I got to do it way better with Kyle Young. That's a manager match that I'm very still much proud of.
Especially considering the fact that I think you took one of my ideas and worked it in, which was having Armageddon's chokeslam still come into play.
Because it ties into the Mafia angle, and with Gibson being being in the Mafia, that took Armageddon out, which Armageddon just came back.
that's what it was.
Yeah, that leads
No.
Kyle Young to cut his promos and being like, because him and Armageddon are pals.
No. The Mafia angle is what eventually brought Kyle and Delvin back on the same side with each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
what it
pretty
was.
much.
It was
Because
the War
Delvin
Games
was in the
match.
Mafia.
It was the War Games match that you were doing because you had them beat the shit out of Delvin when he decided to turn face, and because he wanted out. He wanted out, so he got his ass kicked, and then Kyle came to his rescue.
Basically.
Which led to the War Games match, and I forgot who the other two members were. But
I believe the last old school War Games match that I ever did before switching over to
yeah, it was
24
Warzone
the actual War Games matches.
yeah. But your
Yeah, the
Warzone match
Warzone match.
was Hell in a
Yeah.
Cell.
Uh-huh.
The 3-on-3 Hell in a Cell.
Which, I'm not gonna lie, I might still find a way to use that on my side because I kind of like that concept.
I was
Uh-huh.
gonna say I like the concept itself too. Like the 3-on-3 inside of Hell in a Cell was cool.
Technically, it would have been the Elimination Chamber if they would have kept six-man tag Elimination Chamber matches in the game.
Oh, I know. I wish they.
Okay.
I wish they still had those. Like that's how. So the match that I wanted to set up, that chamber match, that's what I would have wanted to do with it. So I'm thinking of just making it a War Games match That's the thing that would make sense. Two sides fighting each other. Two teams fighting each other. Workings. Hello. Here's your sign. Throw them in workings. Have them fight over who gets the advantage.
Two good old Midwesterners loving a redneck.
Of course. But with babyface, to get back on topic, with babyface promos, with storylines, I swear babyfaces need to learn how to cut promos in this hobby.
There are some I would very much like to throw the fuck at.
Babyface promos are easy though. That's how I played Kelly for so long.
At times, but not really.
Well, no.
When it comes to babyface promos, so many people want to be some real wrestler that does not know how to cut a babyface promo for shit. A babyface does not say anything that he cannot back up. So if you're a babyface, even as a heel, don't say you're going to murder somebody unless you actually are.
Say you're going to turn someone into your bitch just for fun.
On that note,
unless you actually are, and if that would be the case, then that would be on a different platform.
Also, make sure that the Fed owner is okay with those types of things, because I'm not. So don't come in saying that you're gonna murder someone in your promos, please.
You shouldn't anyway.
No,
a babyface should always say something they can back up. Like Kyle Young. Gibson, I'm going to beat Exodus, and then I have 5 minutes with you, and it's going to be the worst 5 minutes of your life.
That's not what I said, but that's pretty much the whole gist of it.
Yeah, but it's just an example. You get the point.
Yeah.
So, short, simple, sweet, and to the point.
Yep.
It's saying what the babyface is going to do. So at the show, when the babyface does what he says he's going to do, the fans are like, "Yay, we can trust him."
But also, if
when a babyface doesn't do what he says he was going to do, the promo should be talking to the audience like they're humans, not making excuses, saying, "I failed you. I said I was going to do this. I didn't keep my word.
And I'm sorry." Or,
but let's move forward because I didn't get taken down single-handedly. This person needed help.
Yeah. Or if you're the babyface, see, I would take it even a step further and not even say they needed help to beat me. I would just say, look, they got me. I lost. I'm gonna learn from this.
You have to. If the heel cheats, then you have to emphasize that as a thing of, okay, they cheated. All right, now what?
Yeah. They cheated. I'm going to learn from
acknowledging the fans, showing the fans that we're in this together. We're a team. Okay? They got us. They got me. They had to use a bunch of people to get me down. But that's the key. They had to use a couple people to get me down. They couldn't do it one-on-one. Let's try to make this one-on-one.
Now, what happens when you're the baby face and you're getting ready to cut a promo and you say that you're going to kick the heel's ass, right? You get to the match itself, the heel wins clean. Then what do you do?
You rarely should have a heel win clean, if any heel is going to win clean, it should be a monster.
Right.
It should be it should be like a monster. It should be Mark Henry. Like when you see the Hall of Pain run.
Mm-hmm.
When did Mark Henry ever cheat?
He didn't. He was just a big badass.
He never did. He was just he's a big burly badass. That's how a monster heel should be.
I understand that.
That's what I do.
But that wasn't my question. In the context of
I'm getting
Claw
to.
and live matches,
In live matches,
you'll lose cleanly to a heel.
yes. But in live matches, there's not a chance of someone like, let's say, an American Phoenix running around and gonna beat someone clean without, especially with the moveset that Claw has.
That's funny because I've seen him win live.
He's-
He's won clean on live matches before.
Yes, but he's also in those same matches done low blows.
And if you're paying enough attention to the match, you can call him out on it and say, look, he low blowed me. I was out of breath and I lost.
That's more about setting up the move sets. Setting up the move set. If they've set up the move set right when it comes to a heel, the heel is going to do something like cheat. They're going to use the brash knucks. They're gonna throw the powder. They're gonna throw the fireball. They're gonna do the brash knuckles. They're going to do something to cheat and to get out of the situation. Either get out of the match by disqualification or win that's not clean.
Yeah.
And if they do, they're going to do something in the match that's not clean. Especially if you set up the character right.
Correct. No.
But it rarely, but if those rare occasions where it does happen, then yes, the babyface's promo should be, they got me clean. They got, not say clean, but they beat me fair and square.
They beat me clean. I'm just going to go back to the drawing board and learn from it. You know, you may even try to shake the heel's hand, like offer to shake their hand at the end of the match to say good match. Let them obviously respond if they're live.
Yes, and the heel doesn't do it.
Yeah. Hopefully they'll say, hell no, I'm not shaking your hand, and then they walk off. Either way, you still stand there and be like, you know what, I screwed up, but you know what, I'm going to learn from this. I'll do better next time.
The babyface should always be the one that is the absolute upholder of valor.
Mm-hmm. That's what
Should always be the case.
That's what I did.
Even if you're doing an anti-hero, look at Austin.
Yeah.
Austin was anti-hero. What did Austin do? He stood up for valor in his own way.
Yeah.
He never was sitting there saying, I'm going to eat your bones and drink your blood. He was saying, I'm going to come up there and I'm going to stick this foot in your ass and you're not going to do anything about it.
True.
Considering he's going against a asshole of an owner and Vince.
Exactly.
In the 90s, when there was a lot going on and people were living vicariously through what he was doing.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
promos and their relation to storylines have also do with the characters themselves in the storyline.
True.
Obviously, you're talking about the living vicariously through Austin, yeah, because everyone can relate to Austin. He's the guy that everyone wants to beat, which is go up to your boss, tell him to go fuck himself, and then kick him in the ass.
Uh-huh.
He's not just this cold, simmering badass that's gonna cut these promos about like eating your bones or whatever, or whatever Odds was saying.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sorry if I kind of
Yeah,
interrupted
but-
you on that one.
No, you're okay.
Oh, you're good.
But no, if you're the baby face and you lose a match, even if it's not a storyline match, and you want to cut a promo, literally walk up, shake the person's hand, and say, "Thanks for the match. I learned a lot," or something like that. Or "Thanks for the match. I'm gonna go back and watch the tapes," or something like that. You don't have to. I'm gonna get revenge because I lost. It's like, no, that's a heel thing. The heel thing is when you lose the match, you whine and complain and are upset and pissed off that you lost. That's a heel thing. You lose a match and you're gonna sit there and cry like a baby? Congratulations, you're healing perfectly because you lost and you're upset. You're a baby face and you lose a match? Tough shit. I'll just roll my sleeves up and I'll be back next week.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna roll my sleeves up, hit the gym, and I'll be back next week ready to go.
In answer, Scorpion, Undertaker's promos were somewhat heelish, but at the same time, he was cutting the same promos. Him and Paul were cutting the same promos back when he was a heel. He just turned babyface. Some characters can do that. Can just stick with the same promo style and never change for the most part.
City.
In prime time, all the times Lex was switched babyface failed tremendously. Not because of any booking, but because, as Lex put it himself, he was a natural heel at that point. In his life, he was a natural heel because no one liked him because he was a pain, because he was an ass. He has admitted it himself that he was an ass. So he made a perfect heel because he didn't want it, because he didn't like the fans. He didn't understand anything going on at the time.
Oh, and also, side note on Scorpion's comment, the perfect person for that right now in CAW, where they could cut whatever type of promo they want, and if they were a face or a heel, they could cut the same type of promo and get away with it. City. If he were to turn face, he could get away with it.
Depends on where you are.
True.
Depends on who you are, to be fair. If not, if you're Chris Knight.
That's true.
Chris Knight could technically cut any promo he wants and still be a babyface.
It depends
That's
on
the
the
point.
person, I'll be honest.
Oh, I was seeing so many people laugh when he cut off Max Young's microphone. That one was a hilarious promo in and of itself because I wanted to get the show done, and I was like, I have no time to ask him for a reply. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna have him do the pull away microphone trick where he puts the microphone up to him and asks him a question and then pulls the microphone away. Because that scene's not in the game, I was just like, oh, he turns off his microphone.
I'll be
Give him
honest.
a microphone that doesn't work.
I'll be honest though, I think if you were to ask me at that time for a promo, I'm pretty sure they would have been complete dog shit.
Probably. And I was trying to get Max Young over.
The problem was the matchup itself. Chris Knight, a guy with leg submissions versus a guy who throws kicks.
That's what I learned also as the whole thing went on. when their first match happened, I'm like, oh dear Lord, this is going to not be good. Chris can't put him over because Chris physically can't, because all he's going to do is attack his legs and stop every move he's going to do. Oh shit.
Yeah, physically, he could not put Max over because Max, at the time, I think I just gave him like a mixture of like Aleister Black and someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Max, all he did was throw kicks. He thought he was a kickboxing champion.
That explains a lot.
What?
The one person that has never beat Sarah Knight, and Sarah has a mixture of Chris and Cleopatra, right, Odds?
Yes.
And
Yes, she does.
she does have the calf crusher, which is a leg submission.
I believe she does.
Yeah, she does focus on the legs, just like Chris did. Ah, this makes so much more sense now. The one person I could never get to beat Sarah in a match was Jen.
Yes, because anybody with like a spin kick or any type of kicking attacks, if you're fighting someone with leg submissions, they're going to tear you to fucking shreds.
Yep. So every time those two would fight,
Giants also, I've had that problem with watching Akira Suzuki completely demolish Cicely Scott's legs to the point where she's just standing there, not able to move as she's getting her ass kicked multiple times.
or you're watching it going.
I watched that. To be honest, I watched that more times than I watched Cicely Scott absolutely utterly destroy a certain someone. As I was watching Akira do that, I'm like, this is punishment for Cicely Scott, completely dog walking the other bitch, isn't it? This is my punishment.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
Yes, that is your punishment.
Where's your punishment, motherfucker?
But anyway, I think we've drained this topic dry enough
I think we have.
for today.
Yeah, probably.
We would like to thank everybody for stopping by and listening and hanging out and sharing their thoughts and whatnot.
And also enjoying our tangents.
Yep, which we had multiple tangents today.
Multiple tangents, and this shop is officially closed.
Yep, the shop is closed.
It's in time, motherfuckers.
We gotta clean up. We gotta restock the shelves.
Gotta really hope that I updated
A
the
fresh
logo on the
night.
stream ending scene. Otherwise, it's gonna be a Beetle botch.
And we gotta get everything up and running for the next time we show up in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks from now, the next Let's Talk Hot Shop podcast.
Because remember, this show is a bi-weekly podcast.
If we actually can remember to do it bi-weekly sometimes.
If things don't come up,
If life doesn't happen, but life has happened.
if life doesn't happen, if things don't come up, then it's bi-weekly. If not, then it's whenever the hell we get around to it.
whatever we actually have time to do it. So
Exactly.
thank you all for
So that
tuning in
means-
and watching. Oh,
Exactly.
sorry, odds go on.
Thank you all for tuning in. This has been a lot of fun. I am the CPW's commentator, Odds the Brain Cornet.
I am Triple B.
15-year veteran of the digital wrestling hobby.
Okay, we now actually do our own outros.
Yes.
Beetle, you go first.
Well, I would like to thank you all for watching today. On that note, this stream is.
Oh, okay then.
Yeah, I don't. I'm tired. Okay, I had a long workout earlier.
I mean, Beetle, do not do an Io Shirai on. Do not make Samurai our Io Shirai.
Okay, Samurai, you go first.
Anyways,
Samurai Oz the Nate, go.
Okay. Anyways, thank you all for watching. I've been Kyle Young, Brandon Wilson, Mitch Summer, whatever the hell you want to call me, the voice of Second City Dojo, and I think a 6-7 year veteran of this business. on this hobby that we all enjoy and somewhat hate. Okay, now go, Beetle.
All right. Thank you all for watching. I am Triple Beat, also known as Beetleborgs. I've been in this hobby for way too long, and I don't remember. Let's see, 2010. So that's when I made Delvin initially, I think. So 15 years. Holy crap! Didn't get into e-fighting until 2017, 2018. So 8 years in the hobby, doing this portion of it, booking shows, that kind of stuff. But I'd like to just thank you all for tuning in and checking out our podcast. And thank you all for tuning in. Seriously, it means a lot. It really does.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And I think it's time that we close this shop. Odds, I think you already did your outro, right? Break the fourth wall.
Yes,
like
yes, we did.
times.
The shop is officially closed.
We've
Now
all
get out of
done
here.
our outros. All right, here
Now
we
get out of here.
go.
You start-
Ah, where's that showing? American Rain is cutting a promo at the very end. Bye, everybody!